Okay, welcome to Chapter 1, Lesson 1.4. We're going to be talking about recognizing functions by characteristics. And you've got 4 that you're going to be working with on this section. So the first one is the linear function family. Now, let's talk about characteristics. Important word to know, linear. These functions are going to create straight lines. Sorry about that. That's not, a straight line, but that's the best I can do without a ruler. Now, the lines can be flat. They can go down. When you start crunching numbers, or you're doing it on your graphing calculator, it's going to come out straight. All right. Now, most of the time for real world problems, you have a starting point and an ending point, but theoretically, it could go on forever. It could go both ways. It could go down if you kept putting negative numbers in it, or it could keep going up if you kept putting positive numbers in it. So the key thing to recognize a linear function family, if you see a graph and it's a straight line, you got yourself a linear function. Now an exponential function does this. It either goes up like super fast, think the Superman ride at Magic Mountain, okay? Or it starts high, goes down a little bit, and then drops, okay? Think like going over a waterfall, okay? It's not straight. There's going to be a curve to it. There'll be a curve to it either at the beginning, or there'll be a curve there's a curve here starting low and going high, or a curve here going high to low. Okay? So that's your shape. It theoretically can have no minimum. It could also have no maximum. Again, in the real world, you'd probably have a starting point and ending point. Quadratics. Quadratics do some interesting things. When you see a graph that does something like this, it does the smiley face or the frowny face, you have yourself a quadratic function. Now, a quadratic function will have an absolute either maximum, it's got a high point, or it's going to have a low point, the lowest you can go, okay? So it will have an absolute minimum or an absolute maximum. All right? Now, a linear function family, piece of cake. If you see a V, 2 straight lines, and it can be going up or down, victory or upside down, you know you got yourself a linear absolute function. All right? So another way you can tell what kind of function you're looking at is what form it's taking. If you see something like this, maybe like, that's going to be linear. All right, so watch for that mx plus b format, where you have some number in front of an x plus or minus a number. That can be minus, by the way. That can go both ways. An exponential, you're always going to have something with like a square or cubed or to the 4th. The classic ones seem to be squared and cubed. So you can have something like x is equal to, function of x. Let's do function of x. Function of x is equal to x cubed. And that's going to go up really quick. All right? So watch for your exponents. That'll clue you that you're looking at an exponential function. Quadratics, can't miss them because they're a mess. So it's going to be in 3 parts. There will be an exponent, just a regular old number that you're looking at, and then a number by itself. So it might look like something like this. Okay. So you see 3 parts like that, you know you have yourself a quadratic function. Hints for linear absolute, if you see the absolute value bars. For example, if you see, let's say absolute value bar, you know it's going to give you one of these. So they're real easy to spot. If you see those absolute value bars, you know you have yourself a linear absolute function. So that's just some hints. So your assignment, you need to be working on page 50. Where are we at here? We're going to be working on page 54 all the way to, wait for it, 61. Okay, so you got a little bit of work to do. Hopefully that's going to help you out. A couple reminders. Number one, remember that discrete, you have dots, and continuous, you have a line. It can be a straight line, it can be a curve, but it's continuous. Just a little hint as you're working your way through the work.